So today I called you to address you about the political prisoners' plight. Dozens of our comrades that have been in prison for close to 4 years without committing any crime whatsoever, without trial. And as we've been saying, that these comrades are innocent. They did not commit any crime whatsoever, because if they had committed any crime, the state would have adduced evidence by now and convicted them. But for close to 4 years, there has not been any evidence adduced against them. They have not been tried, but just held illegally in detention. Many times, like we've been communicating to you time and again, many times regime agents have been visiting them in prison and trying to convince them and eventually coerced them to change their stand. They've always been going with one message to them in prison: plead guilty or rot in jail. They went as far as reaching out to their relatives and asking them to convince their loved ones, their sons, their daughters, their husbands, their wives, to commit crime, to plead guilty to crimes that they never committed. Many times they went to Chitalia, they went to Luzira with one general message: plead guilty or rot in jail. And as you know, these comrades have been coming to court after more than 56 court appearances. There was nothing going on. They were denied bail after 4 bail applications, bringing flimsy reasons. At first, they said that their parents were not substantial sureties. And then one of the other reasons they gave is that these comrades did not have any residences, leave alone the fact that majority of them were abducted from their homes. But the military court said the reason for denying them bail was that they did not have any permanent places of abode. So that is how 4 bail applications were turned down. The regime, whenever they reached out to them in prison, they were promising them money and promising them houses if they can yield to what they were requesting them, to first plead guilty and then implicate us, especially myself, in crimes that even they themselves did not commit. The regime was always straightforward to them, telling them that the only thing that would save them from jail is to defect and start working for General Museveni and tell lies against us constantly. The regime went ahead to even deny us access to these our comrades. But other people like Balaam and others were always accessing them. But whenever, and you saw, we were always putting it on social media. Many times we went to visit them and we were denied access to them. So after all that back and forth in court, after frustrating the bail applications, the regime finally succeeded in breaking the backs of some of these our comrades. So out of desperation, 6 of our comrades in Chitalia wrote to the military court asking to withdraw the NUP lawyers and saying that they want to be represented by UPDF lawyers. I visited them about a week ago in Chitalia, and after speaking to them, some of them recalled their decision, while others told us that they were coerced, but they were changing their mind about selling out. Yesterday, you saw 3 of our comrades from Luzira pleaded guilty. Among them was Mwanguzi Paul, was Obilai Siraj, and Mugaza Joseph. They changed their long-held stand of not guilty because they were not guilty. This time they changed their stand and said they are guilty. Even the famous Sanya Nudin Kakoza, who was always standing up firmly and challenging his illegal detention, yesterday unfortunately was backbroken. When some of our comrades spoke to him a while ago, he said that he was being reached out to by regime agents, and we were told that yesterday he actually was speaking in court and was saying that we lied to him, we misled him into committing any crime, although he did not mention any particular crime. But we understand that out of desperation and out of too much pressure from regime people, this happened. Now, interestingly, this happened when our lawyers were blocked out of court, when journalists were blocked out of court. The military court said that this case was going to be heard without any cameras. But as you noticed, a wonderful figure was there. And us, and even lawyers, were blocked from witnessing what was going on in court. Being a military court, of course, there's no element of human rights. All they want is to procure their interest from these people. They want to avoid future lawsuits because they know that when these comrades come out, they can sue the state for malicious prosecution. And also, they want to use them as tools, as examples to those that stand against the regime, but also as tools of intimidation to the rest. We are here to castigate that, to condemn that, because these are things that we've been warning against our people. Of course, we sympathize with these political prisoners. We understand their plight, and we understand that everybody has a certain level of resistance. Probably some of these comrades could not resist beyond 3 or 4 years in prison, and that's how they sold out. We don't blame them so much. We sympathize with them because some of them had really gotten very desperate. But we warn all of you comrades that this regime does not love you. All they want is to keep themselves safe against you, against any future prosecution against them for the wrongs that they are doing. That's why they are forcing them to accept crimes that they actually never committed. We understand them, we sympathize with them, but we discourage that kind of behavior because ultimately it doesn't only hurt those that have sold out, but it even hurts justice and freedom. Now, this, ladies and gentlemen, is a blatant abuse of power. It's an abuse of the justice system. We've always raised our voice against the constant usage of the military court as a tool. The Supreme Court itself, we have been mentioning, and we continue to say that the Supreme Court has refused up to now to pronounce itself. It has refused to uphold a decision of the Constitutional Court which declared that trying civilians in military courts is unconstitutional and should be stopped. That was in the case of Kabaziguruka. But up to now, the Supreme Court has not pronounced itself because, as you know, the justice system is only a shadow of itself, and the justice system now is an injustice system, for lack of a better word. The civilians are constantly being tried in military courts. Now Museveni is using the military court as a weapon against his political opponents. We condemn that, but we can only expose them for now. We can only call out the Supreme Court to stop being complacent and being part of the oppression to be a court worth its name and pronounce itself against the trial of civilians in military courts. I thought it was important to communicate this, ladies and gentlemen. We stay firm, we stand firm, and we continue to stand with those our comrades who are innocent and are being held illegally in jails and also being tried in military courts. Mu Luganda